What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. I got some news regarding newly unified lightweight champion George Kambosos and who he will be facing off in his next fight. Now he's going to be flying from Miami, where he trains at, to Las Vegas to witness firsthand. I think he's going to be doing a little work for the zone. And he'll be there in attendance for Devin the Dream Haney versus JoJo Diaz. Now, if Devin the Dream Haney wins that fight and wins that fight impressively, and he stands out over the other fight I'm going to mention, the other two fights I'm going to mention, that's going to play a part in deciding who George Kambosos fights next. But if he stands out and puts on an impressive performance and possibly stops JoJo Diaz, he could be next in line to take on George Kambosos. But he's going to have to not play it safe, which I could easily see him playing it safe. You know, basically jabbing, stand on the outside, control the distance, and winning a boring unanimous decision win over JoJo Diaz. But that might not necessarily get him the fight. That's actually going to make him and his promoter, Lou DiBella, probably go the other way. So he's going to have to be impressive, man. He's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive, kind of like he was in the Jorge Linares fight. Now, he got caught late in that fight at the end of the 10th round, I believe, or the end of the 9th round. He was had some shaky moments in the next round, but he was able to stem the tide and win a unanimous decision. He's going to have to fight a little bit like that and be, just don't be caught with that shot, because he basically said he fell asleep. So it wasn't like he was, oh man, I got aggressive, that's when I messed up. He's like, I was being aggressive, I was backing him up actually, and I just got caught napping. So he cleaned that up and fight just as aggressive and maybe get a stoppage. He could put himself in prime position to take on George Kambosos. Now after that fight, he said he's going to fly to Gervonta Tank Davis versus Isaac Cruz. That fight's going to take place the very next day, on a Sunday. That fight's going to take place in the Staples Center, Los Angeles, California, IA. He wants to see Gervonta Tank Davis put on an impressive performance. But when have we watched Gervonta Tank Davis and not been impressive? That's what he does. That's why he's able to be the cash cow in the lower weight divisions. 140 pounds and below, he is the cash cow. He is the Canelo Alvarez, the money man of the 140 pounds and below division. He is that guy. If you want the bag, you want the big payday, you got to come see Gervonta Tank Davis. But Gervonta Tank Davis recently said that if he fights George Kambosos, he wants it to be for no belts because he don't want to pay sanctioning fees. You notice when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was making his run and dominating the welterweight divisions and the junior welterweights and the lightweight division, when he was really in his peak, he didn't become undisputed in any of those weight divisions. It was a method to his madness. He didn't want to pay those sanctioning fees. If you got 3 belts like George Kambosos has, that's 3 sanctioning fees that's getting a percentage of your money that you earn each fight. And Gervonta Tank Davis ain't trying to go that route. So with all that being said, I don't think that fight's gonna happen if that's the case, because there's no way George Kambosos was gonna fight Gervonta Tank Davis in a non-title fight. Why would he do that? The belts are what enhance him. That's what makes him a marquee fighter. That's what makes him a name that other top fighters want to fight. Why would he do that? And he can go fight Devin the Haney and put his titles on the line, or fight the next fight I'm finna mention and put his title on the line. The next fight I'm going to mention is Vasily Lomachenko versus Richard Commey. He's going to fly out to there the week later. Now he's going to go home after the Gervonta Tank Davis. He's going to go back to Sydney, Australia, and tend to some things at home. After he does that, he's going to fly back out to New York. New York is a hell of a town. He's going to fly out there to New York and witness Vasily Lomachenko, aka the Matrix, taking on Richard Commey, Ghana's own Richard Commey, in a lightweight match. That's going to take place on Heisman Trophy night, right after the Heisman Trophy, so he should get very good ratings. And if Vasily Lomachenko puts on a devastating performance, similar to what he did when he stopped Nakatani, he could be in prime position to take on George Kambosos. So basically, George Kambosos is basically giving everybody a trial. Put on your best display, put on your best performance, and whoever stands out, I'll be looking to face off with that person next. But it's only one caveat to all this. You must come see me in my home country of Australia, as I want to pack a big soccer stadium in my next fight, 70,000 to 80,000 rabid Australian fans. I am the emperor, he calls himself. I was been on the road fighting these top guys. I went to UK and beat Lee Selby. You know, a lot of people say that fight was real close. A lot of people said Lee Selby won that fight. I didn't see that fight. I just thought George Kambosos brought a C-level performance to that fight. It wasn't like he fought his best and Lee Selby had a tricky style or whatever the case may be. It was one of them fights where it was like, okay, I done seen Kambosos fight before. He's fighting Lee Selby. He fighting him in his home country. And he basically did what he had to do to win. But to me, that was a C-level performance. The same Kambosos that showed up against Teofimo Lopez would stop Lee Selby. Would have stopped Lee Selby. But sometimes you don't have your best game. Sometimes you don't have your best night. Sometimes you don't have your best performance. I just thought that was a C-level performance. You know, Floyd Mayweather Jr. used to say, man, I've been beating these guys with C-level performances, man, and beating these guys with ease. You know, and I had to go to the B or A-level performance to beat those guys. But if I ever run across an opponent that will have to go to a A-level performance, I'm more than equipped to do that. And that kind of seemed like the performance that George Kambosos gave in the Lee Selby fight. But I thought he won the fight. It was very close, but I thought he won the fight around 7 rounds to 5. And in the Mickey Bay fight, that's a style matchup right there. That's a style, man. Mickey Bay is a guy that's defensively responsible, kind of slick fighter. He comes from the Mayweather school of fighting, so there's no way he was going to look good fighting Mickey Bay. He did what he had to do to get the win. It was a close fight, but that was just sometimes styles make fights and sometimes styles make boring fights, and that was the case with George Kambosos and Mickey Bay. With all that being said, that goes back to what I'm saying about Devin Haney. If he fights this fight, he can win this fight in a very dominating fashion, but a boring fashion against Jojo Diaz, and then lose out on the George Kambosos sweepstakes. He's going to have to be mindful of that, because George Kambosos just said it. Ain't like he can say that after the fight. He said if he said all this after the fight, like, oh man, when he won, he didn't look too impressive. Man, I want to put on crowd-pleasing, exciting fights. Man, I don't want to fight no guy that's going to be running around on his bicycle pulling Lance Armstrong. If he say that after the fight, people going to say he's ducking. But he's telling you guys before the fight, I want a standout guy in my next fight. These next 3 fights, I'm gonna look at the guy that put on the best performance, and that's who I want to fight next in Sydney, Australia, in a big old soccer stadium in front of 70,000 or 80,000 rabid fans. He's saying that before the fight, so he's letting you guys know what you got to do. So Devin the Dream Haney, not only must you win the fight, but you must win in impressive, dominating, and exciting fashion. I already pretty much done ruled out Gervonta Tank Davis. Number 1, he's not going to Australia to fight you, George Kambosos. He ain't finna do that. Mayweather and Leonard Ellerbe are not gonna let him do that. Number 2, he wants to fight you, but he don't want you to put the belts on the line because he don't want to pay no sanction fee once he beats you. So that's another strike against that fight happening. So I don't look for that fight to happen. I look for Gervonta to chase a matchup with Rolando Roller Romero if he's victorious against Isaac Cruz, or try to revisit the negotiations with Ryan Garcia. And so I think it's going to come down to Lomachenko Commey winner and the Devin Haney if he gets by Jojo Diaz. Now, if Jojo Diaz wins, it's a rematch clause, one way rematch clause, and he must face off with, excuse me, my glass about to fall off. He must give Devin Haney an immediate rematch. Now, the way Jojo been talking about this leading up to the fight, he's thinking that he's going to beat up Devin the Dream Haney so bad that Devin Haney might not want a rematch. He might decide to go into another direction. If that's the case, then Jojo Diaz says he would mind fighting George Kambosos after Devin Haney. He also mentioned Gervonta Tank Davis. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, will Jojo Diaz be willing to go to Sydney, Australia? Maybe, maybe not. Or we be willing to stay at home on the West Coast, in his home part of his country. He's from the West Side. He's from LA, I think. He could have a big West Coast fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. That might be more appealing to him. They might be a bigger bag for him fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, like I said, who is the cash cow of 140 pounds and below. So all these things remains to be seen, and we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thought about George Kambosos and who you think he should fight next. Do you like how he's already come out and said that I'm going to face the next guy that looks the most impressive in these next 3 fights, coming on 2 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and 1 next week on a Saturday on Heisman Trophy night. Let me know your thoughts on who you like to see George Kambosos, a.k.a. the Emperor, take on next. And subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.